Hey guys, Kane here with XBLA fans, and I'm going to be trying something a little different today. This is basically my first game playing Ganesha, and I'm just going to kind of look through and just kind of do like almost like a VOD review of just kind of what I think of this character so far. And for those of you who have not played the character, this is a pure support god. Like, this is the literal definition of a support. In fact, Ganesha's passive is Good Fortune. And any time that you deal a killing blow, the nearest friendly god is actually going to get the kill credit. And there is a little bit of a trade-off that kind of does benefit you as well. So you do get more assists because your assist range is increased, as well as the length of time in which you can get an assist. So there is some benefit to you. It's not just like, oh my god, I can't get kills with this god. And, I mean, that's 100% true. You're not going to ever get a kill on this god. One thing I do think is pretty cool, though, is almost every ability is just super, super useful for your teammates. So your first ability is that kind of line shot, and it's that it does a good bit of damage. And it also buffs allied gods that are nearby, and they get bonus damage, which is super cool. Then you have your second ability, which is Ohm, and that's what allows you to have that free movement to go any direction, more or less. And you can also silence any gods that are directly in front of you, and that's super useful. The other cool thing is anybody within that circle on your team is also gaining protections, which that's super clutch every once in a while. There are times where you can just make sure someone doesn't escape, and also make sure your teammates are, safer. And then you have your third ability, which is Remove Obstacles. Believe it or not, I did not think about this in the past, but, even with a teammate like not Hercules, Thor, he's putting up that wall pretty frequently, and it actually had a couple times where it would have affected me. But because of the fact that I can dash through it, I can still get my knock up if I need to, and that's just super useful. So you can travel through any player-made obstacles or deployables, and it's a pretty good dash. And when you do hit somebody, you will root them in place, and then you'll kind of knock them up, and that's super, super clutch. So there's definitely some ways to play with teammates on that one. Now your ultimate is these Dharmic Pillars, and what's kind of neat about those is it creates this kind of field, and anyone who passes through that field is going to take damage, slow, and also have reduced protections. And that's just a lot of, kind of buffs and debuffs that you add to your team, and that's just super clutch. Now, this is very much a support god, though. I know for a fact there's going to be a point later in this video where I'm going to kind of just try to 1v1 somebody, and it's not happening. But like I said, right there is a perfect example of the fact that I can dash through Thor's wall. Now these Dharmic Pillars are pretty disgusting, actually, for getting like that initial slow on somebody to be able to kind of engage up on them. This rat kind of destroys us in this game, if I remember correctly. He just goes ham. One thing I really like is with the Ohm ability, the ability to silence is actually more impactful than you might first think, because you can literally interrupt certain things, as well as the fact that like if somebody has a dash or an escape and they're trying to get away from your teammates, you can keep them from using that. So in general, like, you're not going to be putting out tons and tons of damage on this god, but you are going to be able to kind of make plays. And if you're someone who likes to make plays, that is definitely possible. And that's definitely a distinction, like, I think that's important. Because you can play gods that do tons of damage but don't really have the playmaking potential per se. Whereas there's other gods that have tons of playmaking potential and maybe less damage impact. Then there's some like Ares, I don't know. I just feel like he does tons of damage and has tons of playmaking potential. Specifically when we're talking in the realm of arena. So like I love being able to just go in like that and get that silence down to kind of let my team do some stuff. Obviously, I went in way low, and I probably should have backed and, you know, gone back and buyed. Like, I'm not gonna try to say this is a perfect example of how to play this character. Like, I am not by any means an expert on this god yet. This is, like I said, more or less my first time playing it. Just trying it out. Just kind of trying to see how it feels. And from what I've seen so far, I think it's definitely an interesting one for the ecosystem in Smite. Like, I personally am a big fan of actual supports. Because I think anytime you can be the guy who makes the play and allows your team to carry, there's something to be said about that. Like, there's some value to that a lot of people don't give credit. Like, right there, that's a perfect example of me actually getting a kill, and obviously it still gets donated to Scylla. Which, again, that is actually a very important thing that can happen when you're playing a game like Conquest, because you want the kill to go whoever scales the best. Specifically in a team setting. So something like this is definitely something that I think of more as like a coordinated team and less of a, you know, like I'm playing by myself, you know, selfish kind of pick. Just because, like, obviously it does require a good bit of team play for anything you do on this god to be really effective at the end of the day. Because you're not going to be able to just walk in and kill somebody unless they're just really low. Because your damage output is not that high. I do love the increased protections. I honestly love the ability to just go in and get that knock-up. That knock-up is pretty clutch. Not the best use of my ult, but I do think we're able to at least pick up a kill because it keeps all of the other guys out. And there's something to be said about that. It's always nice. But here's a perfect example. Like, you pick them up, they can't just kind of dash out when you bounce them up in the air like that. Especially if you get that ohm down right away. Now, I built super supporty this game. I really don't think there's another way to build this. I could be wrong, though. So it's definitely something I'm going to be looking up later. I'll be probably doing another video when I feel like I've kind of mastered this god. And the thing is, like, right now I just wanted to give you guys a chance to see some early gameplay and kind of see how it looks, at least in my hands. Obviously, I'm missing the occasional dash, like, right there. It's a little painful. But it's still pretty solid. Alright, so I think we're going to go a little too deep here, me and Osiris, but at the same time, like, I'm not too worried because I'm pretty dang tanky. And the nice thing is, if I come with him, he's going to become tankier because of the fact I'm giving him those extra protections and such. If I have my stuff set up right. So I went with, you know, getting the team aura and then going straight into cooldown reduction. It seemed to work okay for me. And, like, that's always solid. Like, it's always nice if it feels like it wasn't, like, terrible. I don't know if it's, like, the go-to build yet, obviously. I need to play a little bit more. But, like, right there, I keep Scylla from being able to escape. Or, that's not even Scylla. I'm sorry, that's Aphrodite. I'm less impressed now. Totally couldn't see very well. I'm blind. Man, I wish it was Scylla. It would have been so much more impressive. Now it's just like, Kane, you suck. But, I mean, this is right here is a good example of just kind of dying. Yeah, I overcommitted really hard right there. And, like, I'm leaving stuff like this in here. And I'm like, I want people to see just kind of the mistakes I'm making. Because these are probably going to be the same kind of mistakes that almost any new player plays. So, like, the big thing is, like, you kind of want to just go in and you want to make sure these kills get secured. But, like, that's not really what you're the best at. You're not really a kill secure kind of god. Alright, hopefully I can step it up a little bit here. Like, I know we lose this at the end of the match, but like it ends up being a pretty close one. Like the power right there that you have is just really solid. It's just kind of a bummer when you can't get in with teammates on something like that. But it is nice being able... You can see that buff was right there on Thor. So it's always nice when you can kind of see the impact you're having. And I like that Smite kind of gives those visual clues. Ah, no dice. Alright, please tell me I leave. It's like, come on, Kane. You know to leave. Don't stay here. This ain't gonna go well for you. So I'm going for another aura item, and I'm pretty sure that's kind of how I built the entire game. Was just, I'm trying to make sure that I'm making the best impact I can for my teammates, because I know for a fact that my character is not going to be the one that's going to be, you know, more or less solo carrying a game. So it's always nice to get that silence. Hopefully get a little pop here. But nope. Yeah, he's done so. I ain't even gonna look. It's like, you know he's dead. It's like, pay attention, bro. I went with the boots because I was thinking between that and Ohm, I might be able to get some, like, devastating silences that end up, like, kind of winning a fight. Or I might be able to, you know, come in and just dash in for a nice little knock-up or something. But, I mean, I honestly don't think that was the best idea, but at least that was my thought process while I was doing it. To give you guys some, like, hey, that's how Kane thinks. He's a little insane. Well, obviously, like, when I'm first playing a god, I really do like busting him out in Arena before trying to bust him out in Conquest. Because, I mean, the thing about Arena is, like, it's a very easy to understand mode. And it kind of gives you a chance to just kind of like try to master the mechanics behind your god. Whereas Conquest, you know, there's a lot of strategy that's going on. So like unless you have the game completely mastered there, when you're trying to work on mechanics as well as strategy, it's definitely a little more difficult. You know, and like for this, it's really neat for me to be able to just see, okay, again, reminder that I can dash through Thor's wall, which is not something I ever had to think about before because I'm like, I'm not really used to thinking about my teammate being the wall that I'm having to dash through. But, like, it's super clutch when I'm able to do stuff like that right there and pick people up. And it doesn't work out because, you know, it's basically me and Thor versus the world right there, which is not, you know, the best idea on our part. Like, there's definitely a few people on my team that are kind of just running around a little too solo and dying because of it. And it would be nice if we could, you know, stay grouped a little bit better. Especially with how effective their team has been. That was one of those unfortunate ones where, like, I don't think Thor was expecting me to get the knock-up. And instead, you know, he ends up just missing his ult because of it. Come on, Cupid. Yeah, Cupid just... Cupid bailed out on me. He ain't happening. That ain't good. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna die right here. I'm willing to bet money. Or not. I'm gonna get sniped. I'm gonna get sniped. I'm waiting for it. I'm so wait. Oh my god. I totally thought I was dead. Like, I recorded this over the weekend, and I haven't had a chance to put it up yet, so just now getting a chance to kind of look through this, and it's just funny. It's always funny watching your own games and kind of seeing your own mistakes, especially when you've, like, disassociated with the game for a couple days, because it's like, okay, it's not emotional, you know, you can just look at it and be like, man, I'm dumb. Definitely a mistake there. Like, I love that CC chain we're able to put out, though, there. Between me, Scylla, and Cupid, like, that's some serious, serious CC. And it is really hard to live through that kind of nonsense. Yeah. Free protections, bro! I got you. Got you. It's like a college campus. Just some dude running around screaming free protection. They used to give them out with lollipops. At least that's what they did when I went to UCF, because they're always like, people are gonna be embarrassed to grab them if we don't do it like that. It's like, here's a lollipop. See, that right there is just super cool. The ability to be like, okay, he's charging up his ult. I'm just going to go boom, and now you don't get to use it. I mean, I think it just resets it. I don't think he lost it. So, you know, like he just sends it off a couple seconds later. But still, the fact that I was able to at least screw up when he wanted to use it and make it so it wasn't as ideal as it could have been for him is just pretty tight. Alright. Perfect example, though, of I don't do damage, so me and Squirrel Boy, we're not exactly good friends. I probably should have got that Hide of the Nemean Lion item a little bit sooner. You know, they had 2 hunters, and I think I just, like, completely blanked on that thing existing until basically now. And I think if I had picked that up earlier, it definitely would have helped me out. I would have been a lot more tanky, and we probably would have actually won the game. Just because I'm pretty sure I could have stayed in fights a little bit longer and done substantially more damage. Especially in a situation like this where, as you can see, because I didn't actually get her inside my ult, I basically have to back off. Even trying to hit everything possible in the entire universe, it's just not going to happen. So I'm going to end up getting popped by her, but it's kind of a bummer when you can live for that long, but you just don't hit anybody very hard. And it's one of those things, you just got to get used to the fact that, again, like, Ganesha is, like, a real support. Like, this is not, you know, a damage guardian. This is very much someone who wants to peel and protect and buff and do, like, you know, disruption. Like, there's definitely value to that. Like, we've seen the value to that, this game in particular. There's a couple times where I've had, like, some clutch, you know, kind of silences and, you know, knockups. One thing I did read before I played this a little bit was that if you actually turn up your sensitivity, you can actually almost like just circle silence people really fast by just kind of spinning. I haven't really tried that just to see how it works, but it's kind of curious that like that's a thing. Oh man, I was so close to living right there. Again, like if I'd gotten that Hide of the Nemean line a little bit earlier, I think I would have had a little bit more tankiness and probably been living a little bit longer through some of these. Definitely a mistake on my part. But anyways, guys, I want to thank you all for checking this out. Trying to do some different stuff with Smite content this week. I do have something coming up very soon that I'm excited about. And that is going to be kind of like 5 gods that I recommend for new players. If you happen to be a new player and you've been playing on the free rotation gods and you've got some, you know, favors saved up and you're waiting to figure out who to pick up, or you just picked up the god pack and you haven't figured out who to check out next, I've got 5 gods for you that I definitely think you're going to want to try from each role, and I think it's going to definitely be pretty solid. That'll be going up probably tomorrow. That's the goal, at least. And I want to say thank you again, guys, for checking out this. Really do appreciate it. Please do like and subscribe. We're going to try to have a lot more Smite content, as well as other content for ID at Xbox games. Right there, you can see me make a mistake, and I die, and then Thor dies, and we lose the game. I wanted to show this screen, though, just so you could see like the damage mitigated, as well as, you know, taken and such. Obviously, I didn't really put out too much damage, but was still pretty useful, I feel like. And thank you guys again, and later.